everyone, I'm Maki. Blue Destiny is one of the most popular spin-off stories in the Gundam series. So far, I've covered the exam system as well as Blue Destiny Units 1 and 2. This time, I will introduce Blue Destiny Unit 3. This is Blue Destiny Unit 3. Its basic specifications are the same as those of Unit 2, but unearthing it reveals some interesting findings. Unit 3 may help us to discover the truth about the exam. Was Class Moses' goal the right one? Or was it a mistake? Let's find out together. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider joining my membership for just 99 cents a month. As a thank you, you'll receive a name badge and comment stamps. Now, let's begin our research. Blue Destiny Unit 3 was originally a spare mobile suit not intended for combat. It was mainly assembled to provide replacement parts when the other units were damaged. Upon completion, it was designated as a spare for Blue Destiny Units 1 and 2. However, Blue Destiny Unit 1 was destroyed in battle against the Zeon forces. Consequently, Unit 3 effectively became a spare mobile suit exclusively for Unit 2. But the fate of Unit 3 was about to change. Unit 2 was stolen by the Zeon forces. Consequently, Unit 3 lost its purpose. There was no longer any mobile suit to which it could supply parts. However, a new order was issued to the 11th Mechanist Composite Unit, to which Yu Kojima was assigned. The order was to recover or destroy the stolen Unit 2. To carry out this mission, Unit 3 was officially re-registered as Yu Kojima's mobile suit. However, this mission was extremely reckless. In the Universal Century world, it is common practice to use a spare mobile suit for parts to operate a single mobile suit. Some sources state that enough parts for 3 mobile suits must be kept on hand to operate one mobile suit. This ensures that damaged parts can be replaced quickly after combat, allowing the mobile suit to return to battle swiftly. Naturally though, Blue Destiny Unit 3 had no spare parts available. Deploying it into actual combat was a reckless decision in itself. In the novel version, Yu states his belief that the upper ranks of the Earth's Federation forces had decided that continuing research on the exam system was too challenging and had seemingly abandoned the idea of putting it into practical use. As if to support this theory, the 11th Mechanist Composite Unit was clearly mistreated. The only mobile suits assigned to Yu's fellow pilots were balls. The ball was a weapon created by adding armament to a machine originally designed for working in space. At the time, the Federal Army classified it as a mobile suit, but you assessed it as not a weapon that can be called a mobile suit. By this point, the Federation forces had already completed the gym as their official mass-produced mobile suit and were producing and deploying it in large numbers. Nevertheless, Yu's unit was only provided with balls. The Federation Forces headquarters were already focusing on the operation to capture the Zeon Space Fortress Solomon, and the exam project had been abandoned. Unit 3 has the same basic specifications as Unit 2. It has been modified for combat in space. There are 2 differences. The first is the paintwork. Class painted the Blue Destiny series blue. As I explained in an earlier episode, this was based on his beliefs. However, Unit 3 was prepared as a source of spare parts. It was never intended for use in actual combat and was therefore never painted. This is why its body remains white and unpainted. Another difference is that it is equipped with the limiter, developed by Alf Camera. As I explained in the episode about Unit 1, about 5 minutes after the exam system is activated, it disconnects from the mobile suit's control system. This reduces the effect on the pilot's mind and prevents the berserk state, where the system loses the ability to distinguish friend from foe. While it improves stability as a mobile suit, it creates a disadvantage in battle against Unit 2. Unit 2 is not equipped with a limiter. Therefore, even after 5 minutes have passed, it can continue fighting. If Unit 3 fights Unit 2, it will almost certainly lose unless it can win within 5 minutes. However, it isn't clear what would happen if combat continued for more than 5 minutes with the exam system still active. In the story, you succeed in destroying Unit 2 before its limiter activates. These are the two main differences between Units 2 and 3. However, a third difference also appears in the story. I'll explain that in the final section of today's episode. Unit 3 exhibits a phenomenon that is completely different from anything seen with Units 2 or 1. Perhaps that is the true nature of exam. Now let's take a look at the weapons. Blue Destiny Unit 3 has the same armament as Units 1 and 2. As connectors for activating weapons are installed in its arms, it can equip weapons that have been officially adopted by the Earth's Federation forces. The most notable difference from Unit 1 is the beam rifle. You use the beam rifle for the first time when he received Unit 3. Even you, who had already destroyed over 50 mobile suits, was astonished by its power. A weapon with comparable firepower to that of a battleship's main gun was beyond even his expectations. However, the beam rifle was crucial for destroying Unit 2. The armor of the Blue Destiny series is made from a metal called Lunar Titanium alloy. This metal, the same material used for the Alex-78, provides incredible defensive strength. It can even stop the 120mm machine gun used by the Zaku. The machine gun mounted on the Blue Destiny's head has a caliber of 30mm. The chest-mounted machine gun has a caliber of 60mm. These machine guns would most likely be ineffective against Lunar Titanium alloy armor. When Blue Destiny appears in games, the machine guns can still deal damage, but this is an adjustment made to ensure the game remains enjoyable. In reality, however, these weapons would have little effect. The beam rifle is one of the few weapons with a high chance of being effective against Unit 2. The chest missiles may also be capable of damaging Unit 2. However, there is no scene in the story where these missiles actually hit Unit 2. However, there is a scene in which they destroy the cockpit of another, the mobile suit. The area around the cockpit, which protects the pilot, is one of the most heavily armored parts of a mobile suit. These missiles have enough destructive power to break through an area like that. In the story, however, you only uses them to keep Unit 2 in check. Finally, there is one more weapon capable of damaging Unit 2. The Beam Saber. In fact, you destroys the head of Unit 2 with the Beam Saber in the story. Of course, the machine guns are not useless either. You also fight mass-produced mobile suits such as the Dam and the Gelbug. Against these mobile suits, whose armor is made from metals other than Lunar Titanium alloy, machine guns are also effective. Finally, I'd like to discuss the truth behind exam. This phrase was used as a subtitle in the first Blue Destiny game. The phrase, "the truth of exam," was used for the stage in which you and the others embarked on their final battle. Class developed the exam system as a weapon to destroy new types. He predicted that new types and old types would become enemies. He completed the exam as a weapon that would allow old types to defeat new types. However, after the battle with Unit 2, you has a mysterious experience. The explosion of Unit 2's fusion reactor left you and Unit 3 drifting through space. Without knowing their current location or where their allies were, they were certain to die. In the midst of his despair, you heard the voice of Marion Welch, a new type girl. Guided by her, he opened the cockpit hatch and saw Bruce's face stretching out before him. Instead of the pitch-black darkness of space, you witnesses Bruce's face. He assumes that the exam has not yet shut down, but the truth remains unknown. Unlike when he had piloted Unit 1, you looked out into space calmly, his mind no longer consumed by an overwhelming urge to destroy. Marion then tells you that he is not exam. You takes out and equips a land mover, a small propulsion unit designed for pilots. Somehow, you understand the direction in which his companions are heading. It's the same kind of event that happened in the final episode of the original 0079, when Armorway used his new type abilities to save his friends. He safely reunites with his companions and survives. How would you interpret this event? There is no detailed explanation. Class predicted that new types and old types would destroy each other. However, by the end of the story, you an old type and Marion a new type are working together. This could be seen as an example of cross prediction being wrong. Of course, it is also possible that the final theme has nothing to do with exam. Hugh claims that the exam has not shut down, but this is merely his assumption. Hugh sees Bruce's face with his own eyes. Depending on your interpretation, it is entirely plausible that you awakened as a new type at the end of the story. The truth about exam is never clearly explained. It is a part of the story that is open to each fan's interpretation. However, it is clear that an old type and a new type work together. That concludes today's research. Thank you for watching until the end. I'll see you again in the next episode.